Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are two New York-based filmmakers and producers and musicians and writers, award-winning, I might add, who are stopping by Cedar Rapids on their way through to a film festival. Before I explain more about that, let me introduce you to Christine Toy Johnson. Hi, Christine. Nice to have you.
See you.
Yeah. And Bruce Johnson.
Hi.
Welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank
And full disclosure, Bruce and I have known each other for many, many years. We went to high school together, so that's kind of our connection. But now you're based in New York, and you've got a film project. You've got multiple writing projects, stage, screen, and an independent film we're going to talk about as well. So first off, just thanks for coming and hanging out. It's
absolutely
pleasure.
It's a great to get to hear about all your different projects. Where to start? I don't even know. You are through our area because you are showing a film at the Iowa Independent Film Festival, which by the time you hear this or see this will probably have taken place. But the film is called Riding Out the Storm. Bruce, you directed it.
Yep.
And Christine, you wrote it.
I wrote the screenplay and lyrics. It's a movie musical.
Because it's a musical.
Short.
Yes.
So I wrote the screenplay and lyrics with the composer Michael Mott.
Yeah. And so an independent project, and I've watched it. It's so cool.
Thank you.
It's really neat. But Bruce, you also have recently released a CD full of great music.
Yeah.
And Christine, I had the pleasure of seeing you when you were in the touring company of Come From Away a couple of years ago, and I will tell you that I watch the Apple TV version of that periodically because I love that show.
It's a wonderful show.
And when Diane is on the screen, I still see you.
Thank you.
And am I sucking up? Well, yes, I'm sucking up. But there is also a reason to bring that up because of Bruce's project that we will get to here in just a little bit. Christine, starting with you, you've got people have seen you on TV and in the movies. You have over 100 credits, shows that we know, NCIS, Bull. You were in Iron Fist.
Yes, that was really something. And I just returned. I have a recurring role on Law and Order SVU, and I just returned to film episode, I don't know, 3 or 4 in season 26. And my first appearance was in season 2.
Wow.
So that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Now, are you same returning character?
I am a returning character for the past 4 episodes that I've done. Dr. Celia Lee. I started off as Noah's pediatrician. Those who know the show will know that's Detective now Captain Benson's son. And I've expanded my duties at the hospital, and now I take care of many other people.
Oh, nice. Well,
yes.
Well, like you say, as an actor, regular work is the gift that keeps on giving.
And
Recurring roles are great.
Yes, and SVU has been great to all New York actors.
You did a couple of years on One Life to Live too.
I did. Yes, and that was really something else too.
Is that as much of a meat factory as it's portrayed?
Well, it's 5 episodes a week that they film, so it's a lot. Whereas SVU, for example, takes 8 days to shoot 1 episode, and so imagine doing 1 episode every day, and if there is. Which there often was, a large crowd scene, like a wedding or a fire or something that you would have on a soap opera, that is even more labor intensive. So it's just a different pace. You have to learn your lines quickly, and a lot of them, and with the soaps, they will repeat exposition every day,
right? Yeah.
For a while, if they feel like we need to make sure the audience is with us and knows the story. So it can be really tricky, but also really a cool job that I really enjoyed.
You've also done a lot of work in equity and diversity in film and on Broadway in particular.
Yes. So I served for 28 years on the council of the part of the elected leadership of Actors Equity Association, which is the union for stage actors, a volunteer position. And now I am the treasurer of the Dramatists Guild, which is the trade association that advocates for theater writers, composers, lyricists, playwrights. And we were formed to fight against the exploitation of writers in the theater.
And so how's it going?
Well, it's an ongoing journey. Yeah. It's an ongoing journey because in these positions, which again are all volunteer,
right.
I am not only charged with looking out for the general well-being of the writers or the actors in the industry and stage managers when I was volunteering at Equity, but also I have a particular passion for fighting for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So through my initiatives in various organizations, including the Asian American Performers Action Coalition, which I'm a co-founder of, and a new organization called the Asian American Theater Artists Collective that I've just started through a fellowship at the Dramatists Guild Foundation. Through that work, I'm really looking to illuminate the beautiful diversity that is within our community, in our country, and how expanding our storytelling to include various stories is really the best thing for everyone, and really something that is very worth to me fighting for on a daily basis.
We, on the outside, we kind of think as the film, the drama, the entertainment industry as being welcome to diverse populations because, we look at movies and we see, diverse people, diverse communities represented, but they are also often represented in stereotypical fashion.
Well, true. And things have gotten better for sure because of the expanded conversations we've been having about the value and not only the value, really the essential, the necessity of diversifying our viewpoints and widening our worldview through storytelling. Because if you think about it, we all learn so much about each other through what we watch. If you have not had an opportunity, for example, to meet someone who is different from you culturally, racially, whatever, you might get a window in on a little bit of somebody's life through a television show or film or stage. And so it's always been apparent to me that the media has this very unique opportunity to shift the perspectives of people, of ourselves and each other, and our perceptions of who we are and what we can do. So if you can think about it in that way and think about the landscape of American storytelling really including the vast variety of people that live in this country, it's exciting to think about how we might be able to learn about other people than ourselves and really create empathy by learning more that's away from the stereotypes that might have been the way things started or were a while ago, that the stereotypes were relied on because that's what people knew. And as I said, now that we've expanded our conversations about this, I think we're all more aware that nobody's a monolith. Nobody in the entire world is a monolith. So to get different facets of people's lives and experiences is so rich and really, I just feel so strongly about how it is better for everybody to know that.
This is similar to a conversation that we have here within our team quite a bit because we're a jazz radio station located in Iowa, which is predominantly white, but we are, daily, celebrating and investigating, an art form that is created by African Americans, and how do we, how do we make it, make it for everybody, but still honor the roots of it. So so this is it's an important and, as you say, ongoing conversation.
Ongoing, yes. I think same objectives, different obstacles from year to year, but we're fighting the good fight, and we just keep at it because, when you believe. Some people ask me, how have you been able to do this for so long, fight all of these resistances and things? And it's just because I know I'm right. So I know I'm right, that it's a good thing. So I'm not deterred.
Bruce, so you have, in addition to being a director, and we're going to get to the film. I promise, we're going to get to the film. A director and photographer, cinematographer, graphic designer. But you also recently released a CD of music, and one of the reasons that I brought up "Come From Away" right away, not just to suck up to Christine, but because it was, your project came about because you were on the road with Christine and started hanging out with the orchestra.
Right, with the band guys,
in "Come From Away," and anybody who has seen that show knows that the music is critically important and just and so much a part of the of what's going on with that. And the band is also on stage for part of it, so we get to see them perform and all of that. So tell me how that project came about.
Well, talking about "Come From Away," the music is very much what they call trad music, traditional music, and so you've got mandolins and fiddles and guitar and upright bass and bowron, which is a frame drum that's just makes a whole bunch of tones from one guy playing the single drum. And I don't know, I just started imagining all of these songs that had been favorite songs of mine throughout the years, that were anywhere from R&B and jazz songs and folk songs and pop songs. And I just started feeling like, how would I want to sing those songs? And listening to that band play night after night, it's like, I can fit these things together. I can imagine fitting those together. And you were just talking about how with the jazz music, how do you honor the fact that it came from African American people? And like one of the songs on the album is "Ribbon in the Sky." It's a Stevie Wonder song, and that's a pretty big swing to take those guys and say, okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to do this Stevie Wonder song, but I want to do it like this with these instruments and take the piano out, which is, Stevie Wonder's all about piano. We're going to take the piano out and we're going to make it mandolin and guitar. And so how do I fit into that and still honor how he presented the song, but do it in my own voice and not, try to imitate him. Or another song, there's a song, it's called "One More Rhythm," and it's an old James Ingram, really deep cut.
Ooh, that is a deep cut.
Deep cut on one of his albums, but it was all horns and it was very R&B sounding, and it had definitely the start of that 80s electronic pianos and synthesizer stuff. And I thought, okay, so how do I do that? Because I'm trying to get back to acoustic and if I take out the horns, what do we add? And sure enough, Kiana June Weber, the fiddle player, she just jumped right in and was like, I got this, and yeah, the things that they gave them, the challenges I gave them, to do musically, you'd see them sort of scratch your head and they're like, oh, okay. And they'd come back with stuff that was just so much better than I imagined. At one point, there's a Jason Mraz song that we play that when you do it with those instruments, the first time we rehearsed it, if you play it sort of like he does with those instruments, it was so Grand Ole Opry. It was like, if this life is one act, it's like, oh no, we can't do that. And so I thought about cutting the song completely. I didn't know what to do, and I'm riding around in the car, and I called up the bass player and said, so what if I asked you to play your bass like you were a trombone in a Mardi Gras parade? And he went, oh, that's so freeing. Yeah, I can do that. And I was like, okay, good answer, Max. And so we changed it to the whole feel of it to be kind of a second line feel. And yeah, it completely changed the feel of the song. It was a lot of fun then.
So tell me about the recording process, because today obviously you can make a recording in your hotel room,
right?
But I'm guessing you didn't.
We did not.
And but you're on the road.
Yes.
And and the musicians are busy because they got this little show that they have to do 8 times a week. And so tell me how the recording process worked.
Well, they're a little bit like herding cats, because A, they are on the road and they're busy, but B, they're also on the road and they're going to beautiful cities and stuff. And so you'd think, okay, well, there's this big city that's going to have some great recording studios in it, but well, no, we're going to want to go look at San Francisco. So no, we don't want to record that week. And part of the reason I wanted to record the album was because I could tell they were kind of getting fidgety playing the same music night after night, and they wanted to play something new and play something different. And I'm like, well, let's do this. And they liked the idea, but actually getting them to get into the studio to do it was a little trickier than I had thought initially. But surprisingly, there are really great studios hidden all over the country. We found one in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that was just up in the mountains all by itself, as like it was trying to hide from everybody. And it's this beautiful studio, and he was able to separate everybody, and he had every mic you'd ever dream of having. And
did that create problems not problems, but complications in the post-production, having the songs recorded in diverse locations, different acoustics, different equipment?
So I had talked to the mixing engineer before we ever started and asked him that very question. Like, what do I need to make sure that I ask for to get some sort of consistency? And he basically just said, try to record it without using any compressors, and gave me the hertz rate that he wanted. And, that was really all he asked for. And then he took it all from there and made it all seamless. Because there were times with some of it that like again, on One More Rhythm and other songs where we'd want to throw in a guitar solo that they didn't record that day in the studio. And those guys all traveled with stuff that they could record with. And so like Billy would just send me his guitar solo to fit in later on. Or there was one song that we were working on that we recorded a snare drum with it when we recorded the track. So we didn't have Steve Holloway playing the Bowron at the time, and he sent me the Bowron track later on, that sort of thing.
A lot of even more pieces in putting together a project like this than normal. Yeah. But you have to be happy with it. It's it's a wonderful project.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm just thrilled with it. I learned so much, and so much of it is, like I said, the band guys would come back to me with stuff that was even better than what I asked for. And you find out things that inspire you to do something else. Like when we were recording Living in the Moment, I mentioned to Martin on the mandolin that what he was playing sounded a lot like an ukulele to me. And he said, yeah, I try not to do that so much with a mandolin, but it just seemed like it fit for this. Which then when I was looking at doing We're in This Love Together, it just suddenly dawned on me. It's like, wow, you throw a Hawaiian feel with this, and then we can add this other song just suddenly fit together into it. And I thought, nah, that works.
And Christine sings on this.
Yeah,
Chris sings
that's
on
fun.
it. Well,
it's a great piece.
What's really fun is driving halfway across the country and be able to listen to the album on Pandora. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hearing it play all by itself. Kind of
It's very exciting. I'm very proud of him.
So the movie the film, Riding Out the Storm, which as we said, Bruce directed. Christine, you wrote the script and the lyrics to the music. It's a short film, but it's a musical film. And it takes place around Hurricane Sandy, which was 2012? 2011. And I'm guessing... I hope I'm
right on that.
Yeah, I think you are. And I'm guessing that, for as New Yorkers, Hurricane Sandy was a landmark event in our lives for your community.
Yes, very much so. And actually, I wrote the a stage version of it back then with Michael Mott when we were going through a training program called BMI, Musical Theater Writers Workshop. So, which is why it was very current at the time that we wrote it. I was doing a show in Staten Island at the time that the hurricane hit, so we had to cancel a couple of shows and see really the devastation in Staten Island, and not only to the land but to the community. And so that's what inspired this story to be about this woman who, it's all fictional, but inspired by the true events. A woman who has to decide whether or not to evacuate the home that her late husband built for them, right as Hurricane Sandy is about to wreak its havoc. And so it's 10 minutes in the stage version, and it's 10 minutes of real time. In the film, it's 15 minutes of real time. But yes, it's to me a very dear story about the everlasting power of love and what that means to different people, and survival, and how we look at all of those very human emotions when faced with tragedy.
When you are in a position where there's any kind of disaster, natural disaster in particular, there is, for that community, there's kind of a before the storm and an after the storm. And we've had, here in our community, we've had two of those things in the last 15 years. We had a derecho land hurricane windstorm that blew through Cedar Rapids and destroyed about 70% of our tree canopy. And prior to that, we had a flood that that put 13 feet of water in our downtown.
Right.
So there, we around here, we totally understand this. Even years after, an event like this occurs, it's still a part of you.
Yes, and now I'm thinking that you were right. I think it was 2012. I think I was wrong, so my apologies.
But I love the way the story rolls out too. And I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah.
Because I love how it ends with a little bit of a question as to what's as to what her next move is gonna be. But the way that you placed her husband, who's passed away, but he's a character. He's there, and they are together in this, but he never speaks.
Right. That addition of that character who appears is all Bruce's idea, because he does not appear in the stage version.
Oh, okay.
It came from trying to figure out, when you take a stage play and you make it into a movie, your possibilities have to be larger. As far as because it's not just flat on one set, and so you get the ability to dramatize things more and to play around with things more, and so it just became really clear that I needed to put that husband in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a great addition. And you say it has to get larger, but it has to get larger and smaller.
Yes,
right.
Well, it's much more intimate.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Because you're right in the living room with them,
right,
in a way that you aren't on a stage show. So, Christine, when you were making this transition between stage and film, tell me about how you reacted to that. Kind of watching something on the stage versus, and of course, you've done much film and TV, but this is your project that you originally visualized as one way, and then you were adapting it. Well, that had to be interesting.
Yeah, I tend to first of all, I write in all different genres. Plays and musicals and television and film, but I tend to write with a cinematic eye. That's sort of what I always do for whatever media I'm in. But it was really a great challenge to be able to expand my imagination and think, well, if we're going to see the inner life of the characters in a different way because it's film, what would that look like? And so I thought Bruce had such great ideas for how to bring that out. And then it's magical when you add the right actors into the room and all the elements come together. It really, I'm so happy with the way it turned out, and it still moves me to watch it. So that's a good thing.
and for me as a viewer, and this is kind of a parochial attitude, but when I think of Hurricane Sandy, I remember the subways getting flooded, and
sure,
and how hard it was in the metropolitan area. But this takes place in a suburb.
Right.
It's a cute little bungalow house, just like we would have in the northeast side of Cedar Rapids, and it's it's kind of a slice of East Coast life that here in the Midwest we don't think about.
Right.
We kind of intellectually know it exists, but we really don't think. Everybody lives in tiny apartments above coffee shops,
and yet
next door to their friends.
And yet you can draw the parallels just in the human response and the experience, just as you mentioned the two disasters that happened here. So I think that's one of the really beautiful things about storytelling and how we can see where we share common humanity and emotional responses.
I was also struck as I was watching, and of course, we've been making music videos ever since the Beatles. But whenever I watch one, and particularly, something, a long form, this is not a long form movie, but it's a long form music piece. I always think about the challenges of, both on the production end and also with the actors of portraying singing in such a way that is going to match the looping that you do later.
So this is what we did, because we have all had experience with doing musicalized projects. I was on the road, so we filmed it on a week that I was home. But before that, we had a table read. I was on Zoom. They were in New York, reading the script. We were discussing what the intentions were of all of the scenes. And then the singers recorded the vocals months before we shot. And so Bruce was there directing them, but the challenge was they had to match the performances they gave in the studio recording the singing several months later. And then they would sing along to themselves. We would play the track while they were filming it, and then everything got edited together and mixed. The sound got mixed, and it was a very, very long process, even for a 15-minute film, to put all those pieces together.
Yeah, that Bruce, that had to present a lot of challenges from the directorial standpoint.
Yes. The thing that probably was the biggest, not challenge for me, but was great thing, was the actors really had to take a leap of faith with me a lot, because if you just give a singer music, they're gonna sing the song, and I'm in my head visualizing how the movie's gonna be and how I'm gonna stage them and how I want them to interact. And so there was a lot of direction that I was giving them on how to sing things that at first seem counterintuitive to them, or this is what this moment is, so it's going to be really quiet, or this is what this moment is, and you probably will be crying at this point, and they just trusted me. They really went, oh, okay, and did it, and there was a lot of that with the composer too, where I would say, so I feel like this underscoring is going to sneak in, minutes before the song starts, so she can just come in quietly. Whereas initially what he wrote, because he just wrote a song in the middle of a musical on stage, he just wrote it just like, boom, start. And like, no, this needs to kind of
got to figure out a way to get into it.
It's got to sneak in. And so you know, and initially he's like, I don't, that's not how I saw it. I was like, just trust me. And then it was, he finally went, yeah, I get where you're going from. And so he, you know, expressed that also then to the orchestrator, and yeah, they managed to somehow put this all together, because the instrumentalists for it also, they recorded each of their tracks at home alone and sent it then to the same mixer that mixed my album, and he put it all together and yeah, made it sound beautiful. So it was a lot of pre-visualization in my head of how I thought it was going to be, and then just crossing my fingers that day of when we're filming that it would work out. And yeah, sure enough, it did.
Well, and again, you had to make sure, you know, that part that's going in your head is not just your mental image of how you wanted it to be, but it's also the tracks that we recorded months ago.
Yeah,
right.
that have to conform. This part's already done.
Right.
And they sang it to piano tracks in the studio.
Oh,
and then later
sure.
on,
Added the
shout out to
orchestration.
Cedar Rapids native Kim Scharnberg, who is our brilliant orchestrator. He then took Michael Mott's beautiful music and orchestrated it, sent it to the musicians. They recorded. So the singers never heard how it all came together until they saw the finished product, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah. What do you remember what their reaction was on seeing it the first time?
So what was exciting is that I got a grant from the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council to do a public screening of the movie in New York City in October of 23. And so I invited the cast, and they were seeing it. I wanted them to see it for the first time on the big screen. So most of the people involved in the film, not all, were able to come. And I think that they were really pretty impressed with themselves in a good way. Yeah.
So what has the reception been as you've been touring it around to the film festivals?
Well, you know, it's been really very heartwarming to see the when we're in the room with people. We haven't traveled to. This is only our second time we're going. We've traveled to a film festival. The first one was in New York City, so we were able to go to that. It's won a couple of awards in some various places, but so we'll let you know after Saturday how Iowa loves our film or not.
But one of the things about the film that was sort of fascinating to me, or was important to me, was how when you do have a loss, that I don't know if you've known anybody that has lost somebody close to you, or if you've lost somebody really, really close to you, but it's always just right there at the surface, even years later with people. You know, I watched my mom go through it after the loss of my father, that you would, if you said just the right thing or just the wrong thing, it would set her down this path. And that's the lead character in our film is going through that very thing, that she had lost her husband the year prior. And so that loss, whether she was happy or sad, you just knew it was right there on the surface, just ready to come out at any moment. And we shot the film, the filming part of it, in just one day. And boy, that Mimi, the lead actress, she was pretty beat by the end of the day, because to have to sort of live that all day long, and then okay, let's do it again, and she's like, you know, to shake it off and then come back to it. It was a long day for her. That's for sure.
It's a wonderful film, and
Thank you.
funny and heartwarming and sad.
Thank you. All in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I always tell people if they want to watch it, it's a very short commitment. So enjoy.
You're finishing up your tour of the festival circuit, but after that, and probably by the time most people see or hear this, it will be available. But how are you distributing it so that people can watch it?
It will be available, free to watch on YouTube and on Vimeo.
But we'll probably put it through our website, which is moongateproductions.com.
Yeah. So you definitely can check it out there.
Start there, and then that'll link you out to.
Well, it'll probably be right on that website too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Excellent. So if it's not there, it will be soon.
Yes.
When
end of September, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. When you hear this, okay, you've got some cool projects in the can, and I'm sure that So what's next?
I am currently working on 2 or 3 musicals for the stage that are in various parts of places of development. One is getting ready to do a concept album. One is looking towards a production next year. So that is ongoing. I have a new play that I've just started developing. And then, going back into television work has been really exciting to do after being on the road for so long with Come From Away. And so there's always something. Yes.
Well, and that's good that there's always another project coming up.
Well, one of the big ones that you forgot is, so in producing my album, learning to be a producer, I kind of got that bug a bit. And so I've convinced her that in October we're going to be recording an EP of 4 of the songs that she's written for different musicals. 5 songs, sorry. 5 of the songs that she's written for different musicals and various things. So
that I will also be singing. So
okay.
Wearing a couple of hats as usual.
But so that's fun to try to visualize how I want that to all come out, and get back in a producer hat on that.
And then the advocacy work, as we talked about, is ongoing. There's the Asian American Theater Artists Collective that I've started is meant to nurture and uplift Asian American theater artists across all disciplines, make a community resource directory that theater professionals will be able to search and find us. And so that work is ongoing as well.
So we have hit you with a lot of stuff through the course of this conversation. So if people want to find out more about any of your projects, where's the best kind of online portal, website, social media to kind of the gateway into the Toy Johnson world?
Well, you can learn way too much about me at my website, ChristineToyJohnson.com. There's all kinds of information that you might or may not be interested in. And we have MoongateProductions.com that has some of our projects.
Yeah, it has you have it over there. It has our first main documentary film, Transcending the Wamasaka Story.
Who was the first person of color to play in the NBA?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is a story. Which is a story I don't know anything about, and I'm looking forward to watching that.
And that's when you ask what's next, that's been something that's been on the front burner, back burner, front burner for me for a long time, is actually getting a script, a biopic, script for that screenplay. Mm-hmm. Put together for that, because I would love to make that into an actual movie that isn't just a documentary.
Okay, well, as always, endless money, endless time. We can do anything, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Fortunately, endless inspiration. That's the key.
That's what you need.
Yep.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for stopping in Cedar Rapids on your travels, and do keep us posted on upcoming projects, and hopefully we'll have a chance, whether it's in person or over Zoom or something else, to catch up with you again and talk about future projects.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much for being with me. You can hear The Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.